Today is the day that we finally find out what the next project is going to be. And under this cover is one of the weirdest, smallest, quirkiest cars that shouldn't even exist. It's got 3 cylinders, 2 seats, a turbo. I've wanted to get my hands on one of these cars for a very long time, and this is going to be hopefully a good choice. I'm even starting to question myself as well now what I've done. Let's get this cover off and let's introduce you to the brand new project on my channel. Welcome to my 2005 Smart Roadster. As I told you, 3 cylinders, 1 turbo, 2 seats. It's got loads of problems. It leaks water, it doesn't work. It's made by Mercedes when they were in their really problematic era. Let's have a walk around the car. I'll show you what's wrong with it because it's beautiful and sunny. I want to take the roof down if it does come down, and I want to hopefully try and drive this car in this video today. Now, the first thing you notice is we are on the driveway today instead of being at the workshop. But the other thing you will notice is this car is absolutely filthy and there are so many cobwebs because it's been quite unloved for a certain period of time. We've got some very cool 15-inch alloys, and from what it looks like, the brakes in the back as well will need to be done in the future. So maybe a call to the guys at Febby Bilstein is required. Coming down the side of the car, I really like this sort of two-tone silver black that they've done. It's almost quite Audi R8-ish where it comes all the way up round and through over the top. The hood is not looking too bad. It's sort of crept itself back in there, but I don't think there's any water coming in from the hood, which is always a bonus. Some bigger dish-like 15-inch alloys on the back as well. Looking down the car, I do think in the future we're going to need some spacers because they just don't sit in the arches that well. Round to the back of the car, it's got a big old chunky butt, and it looks quite wide actually and quite mean. So wow, as mean as a 700cc car can look, I suppose. We have a massive exhaust in there, and I've got plans for that. Maybe we can look at getting a Brabus twin exit here or something, but we have to change the entire rear bumper. Then coming around the other side of the car, and if we look inside, it actually doesn't look that bad. It's kind of cool. In general, I quite like it. We've got boost gauges, we've got a good head unit, we've got a subwoofer behind the seats. I'm not a fan of that, so maybe that needs to, I don't know, we'll do something with that. Even the door cards, these are not in bad condition, and I think with a good detail, this car will look really smart. So overall with this car, it's giving me K-car vibes, but in a European body. I'm excited to get to work on this. So let me tell you how I acquired this very strange little car. I was on Facebook, Auto Trader, and all the other marketplaces having a look for a second project for the channel. And I happened to drive past this car almost every single day where it was parked up, looking very sorry for itself, around about 8 to 9 months. So one day the owner of the business in front of us come round to order a vehicle wrap, and it just so happens that this car came up in conversation. He's already subscribed to the channel, he's a fan of what I do, and believe it or not, he wanted to give me this car to support the channel. So already this car has technically cost me absolutely no money at all. Now secretly, every single time I drove past this car, I did kind of like it. It's one of those little guilty pleasures that you don't really admit to, but I've always loved these little cars. I think they're quirky and they're a little bit different, and I'm all about quirky and different. Let me tell you some information about this car. In the UK at this point in time, this is one of only 500 cars remaining, be it a coupe or a notch. There's 2 versions to this. The coupe is where you have the glass back. This version is the notch where the rear window ends and you have a little boot on the back. The engine is 3 cylinders, 700cc, 80 brake horsepower from factory, but from what I understand, the previous owner has already put a map onto this, and I've been told it's pushing around about 100 brake horsepower. Now that doesn't sound a lot, but with a car that's the size of a go-kart, that's going to feel pretty fast. The previous owner has already done some upgrades to this, including the Brabus leather seats and some flappy paddles behind the wheel to help with the terrible gearbox that these things struggle with. Another upgrade the previous owner put into this car was cruise control. So could this car go on a good road trip? But ultimately, the main problem with this car today, as it sits, is the SAM unit. Now, these cars suffer terribly with water ingress. Let me show you. So where the windscreen wipers are there, and there. In the center, there's almost like a little bowl where the wiper motor sits. And that wiper motor sits directly above all the main controls, which are directly above the pedals here. And up there in the footwell is something called a SAM unit, which essentially is a BCM, a body control module, which controls all the operations for the electrics within the car. And that talks to the ECU, which is in the main engine compartment or main engine bay in the back. Now, if the BCM isn't working, but the ECU is working, you can start the car, but this car does some funky things already. I think the first job is to get the SAM unit out from under the footwell and get that sent away to see if it can be repaired or refurbished. Even though it sounds really easy to remove a SAM unit, which is essentially just a very small fuse box with some computers in, it wasn't easy to get at. Which tells me this will be a recurring theme through this entire video and this project build. Let's be honest, this car is a go-kart, so it's relatively easy to work on. The only problem is, everything is in a really hard place to get to, including this SAM unit, which is why I muted the mic and the actual original footage audio because there was lots of swearing. Okay, now the SAM unit's out, the next job is to remove the bonnet, take off the windscreen wipers, take the scuttle off and see where the water is getting in from the scuttle panel and reseal that, and hopefully I get my SAM unit back by the end of today, maybe tomorrow, but we'll see what happens with that. So let's get the bonnet off, let's remove the windscreen wipers, the scuttle panel and see where the water's coming in. So first off, we need to remove the front tub and then crack on with removing the caps for the windscreen wipers and loosening the nuts so we can get a very special tool on there to release the wipers so we have access to the bolts that are holding it on the bonnet. My wife then helped me remove the bonnet so I had access to the rest of the bolts and screws holding on the scuttle. Once the scuttle was removed, I then found out that the car had more residents already living inside of it, and I really hate spiders. Then I just had to unplug the wiper motor and remove the 4 Torx bolts so I can take out the entire wiper mechanism. I almost lost my life at this point because the angry spider come back. Then it was 4 Torx screws to remove this stupid bowl, to find the problem with the original seal and then start sealing it back up with Tiger Seal or Mansory glue. And then we just reverse the process. Wiper mechanism back in place, screw it down and plug it in, scuttle back on and screw that back in. My wife is back to help me put the bonnet back on and then bolt that back down. Then it's just a quick fit test to see if my body lines all match up and to see if the bonnet latches down correctly. Stick the wipers back on, tighten them back up, and that's it. Job done. Let's see how my SAM unit's getting on. There's a place literally 15 minutes up the road from me that I found on Google. 4Smart said that my SAM unit is beyond repair, unfortunately. However, for a small fee, I have a completely brand new, well, brand new to me, reconditioned and fully coded SAM unit, which is identical to this one, only that this one is actually tested and confirmed to be working. So now hopefully this should stop all the silliness in the car, because we had random indicators staying on, the lights wouldn't work, the brake lights wouldn't work, just loads of electrical gremlins in the car in general. So we're now going to fit this one into the car, and then we're going to get a battery back in the front as well, and hopefully we're going to get a first turn of the car and see if it all fires up and everything works correctly. Fingers crossed this will do the trick. Right, let's get into that really small hole down there. To make life a little bit easier, I decided to remove the driver's seat. Plus, it's a really hot day, so it had to be as easy as possible. Well, so I thought.
Oh dear.
Why do I always end up in these positions? I got stuck in the beetle like this.
This time it's intentional though. Pepper's come to see you as well.
Oh no! Doing?
Oh dear.
What are you doing? I'm not playing. Yeah, hello.
After Pepper's little visit, it was time to get the reconditioned SAM unit back in. Now these can only go in one way. All the plugs match up to their original positions. Then it was time to push the SAM unit back up to its original fixing mounts and then install a brand new battery into the front. Scuttle sealed, SAM unit's in, new battery. I'm exhausted. Well, that's a good sign, because before they wouldn't go on and off. I've got lights, indicators work. This could be it, you know, this genuinely could be it. Does it start? It's running nice, it's running smooth. And look, give me the camera. There is absolutely no engine management lights on. I've got the lights, you can see it flashing on my other car. Indicators, windscreen washers. I think we've genuinely got a working SAM unit. That's awesome! There is so much rubbish in this car. Obviously, he must have been using it as a bit of a daily, but I don't want my car to look like this. So I know we're going to take it for a detail soon. Obviously, we go see our man, Tom, at It's in the Detail to get this ready for something that I've got planned in the future, but I can't drive it around like this. So I have to give this car a hoover and a clean out. So commence the semi-deep clean, I suppose. And let's just get all of the crap out of the car. Once all the rubbish was removed from the car, it was time to bust out the hoover. Then get the driver's seat back in place and all bolted up. Now it's time to put back in the front tub, and something tells me I'm going to need these. I know we're going to take this car for a good detail. However, I need to take it on a little test drive. And I thought a good test would be to take it to the local car wash and to really test to see if that front scuttle is sealed up. Let's see if the SAM unit gets wet, because if it does, we are right back to square one. Fingers crossed. Here it is, it's alive, it's on the road, and we got some very cool turbo noises. And you know what? This car is actually pretty fun. Now, when you first get into this car, you would think that it's going to feel like a shopping trolley with windows. And honestly, if it wasn't for the turbo, it kind of does. But I think that adds to the charm of this little car. This car is not serious at all. Hence the dump belt noises. And if I'm honest, it's really fun, like really fun. Now let's talk about some cons of this car then, shall we? First of all, number one, the car is immensely bumpy, like really bumpy. Now I'm not too sure if that's down to the old shock absorbers needed to be taken out and some brand new ones need to be put in, or whether these cars are actually meant to feel this bumpy all of the time. The other bad part about this car as well, there is so much road noise and so much wind coming over the top of the hood. It's so loud in here all of the time. You don't get any respite or any sort of quiet periods apart from when you sat at the traffic lights, and then all you hear is your engine, which is a little 3-cylinder motorbike engine, and it sounds like a moped. I'll be completely honest, it sounds like a little moped. Other problems at the moment as well, as you can probably notice, it is quite nice and sunny. I've got my sunnies on today, but the roof will not open. It will not come back at all, one bit. I've also been told that these cars suffer massively with water ingress from the roof as well, because the roof likes to recede back on itself off of the seals. So I think in time, this car is going to need a brand new roof. And not to mention as well, I've been told about so many horror stories that these things can catch on fire because there's a certain cable under the rear arch that rubs on the framework of the car and shorts itself out, and that's obviously where I think part of the fuel tank is back there, plus the engine. So we need to take care of a little hack of that one day. Oh, not to mention as well, everyone always complains about the gearbox, because you go to select a gear and you push up. There's the gear. There it is. It's remarkably slow, but that is only when you're driving like an old granny. But that being said, I don't think the gearbox is actually that bad, you know. When you go to select a gear, you just got to preempt where you're going to be a little bit, and it's not massively slow. You still do get a good gear change and a good selection. Now, all right, if this gearbox was in, say, a Porsche or a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, then yeah, you've got something to moan about. But let's be honest, it's a 699cc 3-cylinder motorbike engine from a small city car. I mean, give its dues where it's required, because it's fun. But essentially, this car, it's a bloody nightmare. It leaks. The most expensive part of the car is a SAM unit, which is directly below a bowl of water every time it rains. I mean, what were they thinking when they made this car? Now, let's get to the good parts about this car. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but when you accelerate and you increase that boost, you get a nice little... That has been nothing but sheer entertainment in this car. The dump valve on this is so much fun. Now also, the other good part about this car, with a little bit of a heavy right foot and some spirited driving, it really starts to come alive. You can throw this car around some serious corners and feel like you're Lewis Hamilton. The car is so low to the ground. It has a really, really good center of gravity and a really good balance to the car, especially the fact of, I suppose it's kind of classed as a mid-engine roadster, because the engine is not exactly over the rear axle as such. It's just in front of the rear axle, so it's a mid-engine sports car. Sports car. Let's be honest, it's not the fastest car you're ever going to drive. It's not going to win any drag races. It's not going to push you into the back of the seat. It's just a fun, quirky little car. And that's all it needs to be. Plus, at the same time, if you do have a massive V8, V12, sports car, supercar, hypercar, it's going to cost you a fortune to run it. This thing literally sips fuel. The economy on this is ridiculous. I put in £25 of fuel last week. I've got a full tank. It'll just keep going, and the fuel gauge hasn't even moved yet. But more importantly about this car, it's got a lot of character. No matter where you go, people will stop and look and point at you. Now, I'm not too sure if they're pointing at me yet, thinking I'm an idiot, or if they actually like the car, but I like to think they like the car more than they're pointing at me thinking I'm a bit of an idiot. But overall, I think this car is quirky. It deserves a second chance at life. I think people are far too hard on these little roadsters, and I just think it's just a fun, great, small two-seater roadster. It's great for city driving because it's so economical. It's great for country roads because you can throw it around corners and feel like you're an F1 driver. It handles so well, like immensely well. But there's a lot of problems with this car that we still need to address. Let's get back to the driveway, park it up, let's talk through those problems, shall we? So back home on the driveway after a very nice long drive on the country roads, and we're losing light a little bit because it's getting quite late. I won't lie, I took the car out for a little bit longer than what I expected because I was enjoying the drive. But honestly, my plans for this car, I'm not too sure. I'm very 50-50 mixed. So I want to know what you guys think to this car. Is this a project that we continue with, or do we just flip it on and get something different? As much as I think this car is very cool and I did enjoy the drive in it, I just don't seem to gel with it just yet. It's really hard to get in and out of. It's sometimes a little too small, and it just scares me the amount of problems this car has already and the price of all the parts to try and fix it. We've not even dug into this car yet, and it could be an absolute fortune to fix. This is quite different and it stands out quite a lot. For good or bad reasons, I'm not too sure yet either. But one thing I do know what I would love to do with this is put it up against some more tests and some more challenges. Should we do a road trip in this car? And if we do take this car on a road trip, where do we go? Down the coast? Do we go abroad? Do we take it to a track? Could you imagine this thing on a track day? It would be hilarious. I really need to know your guys' opinions, so please drop a comment below. Should we keep it? Should we shift it on? I'm not too sure yet. Now, I've got some more information to tell you, and for that we're going to go upstairs to my home studio. So I need to tell you about RPM sessions, and more importantly, where you can get involved. You can come to an RPM sessions, the first ever one, and it's only 4 weeks away. So let's get upstairs to the home studio and I'll tell you more about that. Okay, so we're back in the home studio. Now, if you follow me for a while by now, you should realize that DJing and music has been a huge part of my life. But I wanted to find a way to blend my love for DJing with my love for cars and bike builds. And that's how RPM Sessions was born. It's a brand new DJ mix series where I'll be recording live sets in amazing locations. Now, I'm absolutely buzzing to say the official launch of RPM Sessions is going to be at Tracks 2025 and of course to the world famous Silverstone. Now, this has never been done before and I think this is going to be absolutely insane. I've been invited by the team at Febby Bilstein and Blueprint to not only display my Volkswagen Beetle V5 Sport, but to also bring this unique boiler room style DJ set live on the day at Tracks. And if you're going to be there on that day, you can get involved. There's going to be a specific time that we're going to launch very soon, where if you get to the Febby Bilstein and Blueprint stands, you can be in the video for this boiler room style live DJ set. So make sure you bring your A game and loads of energy. Now, don't worry, if you're not going to be at Tracks 2025, you can still get involved in a different kind of way. In the description below, there's a sign up link. Just drop in your name and your email and you will get a free download link to every monthly mix, early notifications when a new mix goes live on my YouTube channel, behind the scenes exclusives, and some more cool stuff as this grows. Honestly, I'm building this thing from scratch and I'm really excited to finally bring this blend of car culture, bike culture and music and raving all together under one roof. I mean, come on, we saw how cool it was at Petrohedonism Underground. So if you want to be part of something that's fresh and new, make sure you get yourself to Tracks 2025 and I will see you at the Febby Bilstein and Blueprint stand. But more importantly, if you've enjoyed this video today, thank you so much for watching. All the support that I've been getting recently really does mean so much. But make sure you go like, subscribe, because we're still trying to grow the subscribers and and the followers count, because more subscribers means I can make more amazing content for you guys. And tell me below what you would do with the Smart Roadster, and I will see you in the next one.